Let's unpack this. Today, we are doing a deep dive into a career that's, well, it's really something else. Scott Christopher Thompson, who everyone knows as Carrot Top. For a learner like you, someone trying to figure out, how careers last in entertainment, his story is, it's a perfect case study. We're going beyond just the props and the hair to understand how a prop comic, and let's be honest, that genre is often seen as kind of niche, maybe fleeting, how he managed to build one of the most stable, longest running careers out there, especially with that massive Vegas residency he's held down since, what, 2005?
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission here is really to look at the structure, the business behind the performer. We've got a ton of biographical info, tracing him from his Florida childhood right up to his, frankly, huge media presence today. And the big question driving this whole thing is exactly what you said. How does someone take a style of comedy that's so specific, so physical, and turn that into decades of continuous work and, let's face it, financial success? We're really looking at the strategy here, the durability.
It really is a study in strategy and just relentless work, I think. But before we get into the sheer logistics of that Vegas show, we need to go back to the beginning because his origins, they're genuinely fascinating, almost unbelievable when you compare it to the persona we know now.
Right. To really get Scott Thompson, you got to start with where he came from. Born February 25, 1965, Rockledge, Florida. Grew up nearby in Cocoa, that's Central Florida, the Space Coast. And that whole environment, I think it's pretty critical to understanding the discipline he must have needed later on.
And here's the first, really surprising piece of info, the thing that kind of grounds that discipline idea. His father, a NASA engineer. Just think about that contrast for a second. You've got this home environment that's probably all about, high-tech precision, serious logistics, zero room for error, the whole massive machine of space exploration. And his younger son grows up to be Carrot Top, famous for absurdity, chaos, homemade gadgets. It's wild.
It's a fantastic contrast, yeah. And you could almost analyze, the behavioral transfer there. Okay, he's not building rockets on stage, obviously. But the sheer discipline it takes to manage a super complex, prop-heavy show, a show that needs constant updates, physical stamina, doing it multiple times a week for decades, you could argue that comes, at least partly, from that structured background. It suggests maybe a fundamental grasp of organization, of systems thinking.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Comedy looks spontaneous, right? But a really successful, complex act like his, it's got to be built on systems.
So he was the younger of two sons, attended Cocoa High School, graduated 83. And his focus back then, interestingly, wasn't stand-up yet. He was deep into music, played the drums, marching band, concert band, the whole thing. That tells you something about rhythm, timing, performance.
Exactly. Drumming needs perfect timing. Stamina, too. Those are essential traits for the kind of rapid-fire prop delivery he became famous for. And get this. Before comedy really became his main thing, in the late 80s, his job was incredibly, normal. He worked as a courier for a mortgage company. A courier.
Wow. Yeah, so he's literally learning logistics, moving physical stuff around efficiently, keeping schedules, hitting deadlines. It just reinforces that picture of maybe a very disciplined, organized guy underneath all the stage chaos.
That discipline must be absolutely crucial now, considering the logistics of his current show. Okay, but let's talk about the name, the brand identity. The sources are pretty clear the name Carrot Top. It wasn't some carefully crafted stage name he invented.
Not at all. It was totally organic, just given to him when he was young by a local swimming coach. Simple, direct reference to his bright red hair.
Huh. It's funny how that works.
It's interesting, right? The single most recognizable piece of his entire public brand was just something someone else said, and he ran with it. And it works. It's simple, it's visual, memorable, sets him apart immediately, whether it's on a giant Vegas marquee or just, a TV screen.
So, okay, high school's done. He enrolls at Florida Atlantic University, FAU, down in Boca Raton. And this is where it really starts. His first proper stand-up routine happened while he was still a freshman at FAU. That's the official beginning of this, nearly 40-year career. Back in 1985.
1985, think about that. That's a whole working lifetime ago. He started before the big comedy boom of the late 80s even really took off, just grinding it out. Right, those first 6 years, 85 to 91, that was him working the regional circuits, building the act. But the sources really point to 1991 as the year things shifted, the year national visibility started kicking in. 2 huge milestones that year. He performed on Comic Strip Live, which was a big deal for stand-ups then.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And he also got on Star Search. Massive talent show, huge audience.
Yeah, those were the pathways back then, weren't they? Star Search especially would have put him in front of, everyone, families, not just comedy nerds. But maybe more importantly, that national exposure helped really lock down what his thing was. His genre gets defined: prop comedy and satire.
And we should really dig into that definition because it's key to why he's lasted so long. It's not just, pulling random stuff out of a box. His subjects are really focused. Topical American culture and a lot of self-deprecation. That focus, I think, is the secret sauce for a prop comic's longevity.
How so?
Well, if you just rely on timeless physical gags, maybe slapstick, your material gets old fast.
Hmm.
But because he ties his props to what's happening now,
Mm.
satirizing the newest gadget, poking fun at a politician, making fun of some commercial, the props become visual shorthand for current stuff.
Ah, okay. So it keeps the act relevant, visual, fast, and always current. But sticking to that genre, even when, some critics maybe look down on prop comedy, that commitment actually opened up these huge platforms for him. Platforms way beyond just doing sets on late night TV. Which brings us to this really interesting, kind of strategic and often overlooked phase at the Cartoon Network years.
Oh, yeah, this was brilliant. Just pure market positioning genius when you look back. Think about the sheer volume of exposure. From 1995 all the way through 1999, Carrot Top was the continuity announcer for Cartoon Network.
The announcer, like the voice saying, coming up next.
Exactly. He was the voice connecting Bugs Bunny to Dexter's Lab or whatever. For 4 solid years, every kid, every teenager watching that channel for hours. They were just absorbing his voice, his brand, passively, constantly.
Wow. That's incredible reach. He wasn't just on the network. He was kind of like the background noise of a whole generation's cartoon watching.
And it wasn't just announcing either. He also produced and starred in his own show for them. An early morning thing called Carrot Top's AM Mayhem ran from 94 to 96.
AM Mayhem. Okay.
Yeah, so it shows this really significant sustained presence aimed squarely at young people. It was strategic whether he planned it that way or not. Build massive brand recognition with kids and teens, years before they could even buy a ticket to see him live.
Ah, planting the seeds.
Exactly. Yeah. Build that generational familiarity. It pays off down the road when those kids grow up and have money for Vegas shows.
Yeah.
It's market saturation, but aimed young. Much cheaper than trying to hit every comedy club constantly.
Okay, so he's got the youth market kind of locked down via Cartoon Network. Then he makes the move into movies, and the ultimate sign, you've made it in the mainstream, national commercials.
That's the next phase, yeah. You see him popping up in movies. He actually had the lead role in a 1998 film called Chairman of the Board.
Oh, I remember that one. Vaguely.
Yeah, and he did some direct-to-video stuff too, which was big business in the 90s. Hourglass in 95, Pure Danger in 96. Now, Chairman of the Board, okay, critics weren't exactly kind, but just getting it released, that cemented him as someone who could carry a project, a known face.
But maybe even bigger, strategically speaking, were the commercials, right? He was the national spokesman for 1-800-CALL-ATT.
It's huge. Yeah. When a massive company like AT&T hires you to be their face nationwide, that says something. It signals, broad appeal, trustworthiness.
Yeah.
He wasn't seen as edgy or polarizing. He was safe enough, funny enough, to cell phone clans to America.
That's a level few comics reach. He wasn't just the wacky prop guy anymore. He was commercially viable, trustworthy.
And that trust, that broad recognition, that's the currency that eventually lets him make that huge leap to the Vegas residency. But interestingly, he was also dipping his toes into slightly different waters around this time, too. Like in 2002, he recorded a commentary track for the movie The Rules of Attraction.
Wait, The Rules of Attraction? The Bret Easton Ellis adaptation?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Which is, a pretty edgy cult kind of film.
Yeah.
Dark humor, transgressive themes.
That's unexpected. I never would have put him with that.
Right. But it shows he was willing to engage with stuff way outside his usual lane, lending his voice, his perspective to something quite different. It kind of signaled to the wider industry, maybe, that he wasn't just a one-trick pony. He was aware, participating in the broader culture. Okay, now we get to the absolute core of it, the engine room. Everything else, Cartoon Network, Star Search, the commercials, it was all building towards this, the ultimate strategic play, the Las Vegas residency. This move fundamentally changed his career, shifted him from being a touring comic dealing with the ups and downs of club bookings into basically a cultural institution, a reliable fixture in the entertainment landscape.
This is the bedrock. This explains the financial security, the professional stability for basically the last 20 years. Since 2005, he's been a headliner for MGM Resorts International. And this wasn't just like a few weekends here and there. This is a major long-term deal.
We know the specifics, which is kind of amazing when you think about the consistency. Since November 22, 2005, he has had a continuous residency show at the Luxor Hotel.
In Las Vegas.
Continuous. Multiple shows a week. Probably, 48, 50 weeks a year? For nearly 2 decades. Same venue. That's staggering.
Let's break down why that's such a game changer, especially for a prop comic. If you're a standard stand-up, touring is a hassle, sure. Travel costs, different stages. But for Carrot Top, touring means hauling multiple giant trunks full of props, some probably delicate, all over the country week after week. Building them, maintaining them.
Exactly. The residency just eliminates that enormous logistical headache.
Yeah.
And the cost that goes with it. He's got a fixed theater, fixed storage space backstage, a dedicated crew who knows the show inside out. The residency basically means the show becomes the career, and the money shifts too, from relying purely on ticket sales, which can fluctuate, to a more stable, likely guaranteed arrangement with a huge casino operator like MGM.
Right.
Now, he still does other gigs when the Luxor show is dark. Apparently, he keeps busy. But the residency itself, that relentless schedule, it demands incredible stamina physically and creatively, but with way less travel friction.
It turns him from, an unpredictable traveling act into a predictable, reliable entertainment asset for the casino. They know he'll be there, drawing crowds. So let's talk about the show itself, the mechanics of it, because it seems perfectly built for that Vegas environment. It involves, dozens of props, stored right there on stage in big trunks.
Yeah, those trunks are iconic now, aren't they?
Yeah.
The visual chaos of them sitting there kind of sets the expectation. You know you're in for a barrage of stuff, and the joke structure itself is super efficient. It's designed for maximum impact in that high-energy Vegas theater setting. Typically, it's just pull out a prop, fire off a quick one-liner about it, usually satirizing something, and then toss it aside. Boom, next prop.
That rapid-fire prop toss rhythm, it's actually kind of brilliant for the Vegas audience, isn't it? In a city where everyone's attention is pulled in a million directions, gambling, drinks, shows that speed is vital. Traditional stand-up might need you to follow a story for 5 minutes. Carrot Top gives you 3 or 4 visual gags and punchlines per minute.
Cognitive efficiency, that's a good way to put it. High impact, instant laughs. Keeps the energy way up.
Yeah, totally.
Plus the sheer physicality of it. The jumping around, the lighting, the pace, it makes it a show, a spectacle, which is what Vegas audiences expect, right? They're not just paying for jokes, they're paying for an experience.
Absolutely. And even with that signature rapid-fire style, he has a very specific way he ends the show, doesn't he?
He does. It's a big finish. He usually closes with a lip-synced musical montage.
The lip-sync montage. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a smart pacing choice, I think. After an hour of hitting the audience with fast, kind of intellectual visual satire, this big, loud, physical, musical number sends everyone out on a high. Makes the whole thing feel complete, theatrical, memorable, something you might come back to see again.
Okay, so the Luxor residency starts in 2005. But it's important to note, he didn't just walk into that, right? He already had industry cred.
Oh, definitely. You have to rewind a bit.
Yeah.
Way back in 1994, long before the Luxor deal was even on the horizon, he won the American Comedy Award for Best Male Stand-Up Comic.
1994. Okay, that's significant.
Very. Because that award validated the craft behind the props. It told the mainstream entertainment world, and probably those casino execs making the big decisions later, that his act wasn't just a novelty, it was recognized, award-winning quality comedy. That kind of credibility would have been absolutely essential to landing a deal as huge and long-lasting as a Vegas residency. All right, so the Luxor residency proves the financial stability, the career durability, but his ongoing film and TV work, that shows his cultural reach, his ubiquity. He's become a master of the strategic cameo, popping up in guest roles, often just playing himself to keep his brand out there, keep it relevant, without needing to commit to another huge, demanding project outside Vegas.
He basically weaponizes his own recognizability, right? He is the joke sometimes. That appearance on Reno 911, back in 2006, the Weigel's Pregnant episode, that's a perfect example. He plays this enraged version of himself, trashes a hotel room, steals a cop car. It's not just a funny bit. It's totally self-aware, playing right into and maybe against the public image of him as this high-energy, maybe kind of manic figure.
Exactly. It shows he's in on the joke,
Yeah.
which is so important for any celebrity who's been around for decades. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. And his whole persona, it just translates perfectly to adult animation too,
Yeah.
which is another key way he stays relevant with, younger or maybe more online audiences.
Totally. He's done voices on Family Guy multiple times, including
Yeah.
that Peter Geist episode. He was on Robot Chicken too. And even way back in 96, he did that meta appearance on Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Remember that show? Half animation, half talk show weirdness.
Oh, yes, Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Classic. Doing those kinds of roles keeps him in the orbit of modern comedy, the stuff that really resonates with that, say, 20 to 40 demographic.
But what's really strategic, I think, is how he can jump from those cartoon voices to playing himself in mainstream sitcoms and even serious dramas.
Yeah, like appearing as himself on Scrubs in that My Balancing Act episode. Fits perfectly there. But then, more surprisingly, he pops up in CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, a couple of episodes back in 2011.
Yeah.
Like the heavy procedural drama CSI.
That's got to be the ultimate sign of mainstream acceptance, right? When a serious drama like CSI uses you as yourself in a scene, it means your celebrity is so recognizable, so grounded in the real world for the audience that you can just drop in regardless of the tone. You're just part of the furniture of fame.
Yeah, familiar fixture, yeah.
And he's still doing it. His ability to stay current is proven by that uncredited appearance just this year, 2024, on Hacks, which is, a super acclaimed current show.
And that broad appeal, cutting across all genres, made him perfect for the whole reality and talk show circuit. He can fit in anywhere, be the judge, the comic relief, whatever they need.
Absolutely. He was a guest judge on Last Comic Standing in 2008, sharing his experience,
Right.
But his willingness to just show up wherever the eyeballs are, regardless of how maybe prestigious the show is,
Yeah.
that's pretty remarkable. He did Gene Simmons' Family Jewels twice. He was on the Bad Girls Club. He was on Holly's World.
It shows a real lack of, I don't know, celebrity ego maybe? He gets that any TV appearance is brand maintenance.
Yeah.
Keep the name out there. And that carried over to game shows too, helping other celebs,
Mhm.
playing for charity. He did Don't Forget the Lyrics in 2010, helping out Penn and Teller.
Right.
He was on that Weakest Link comedian special. And crucially, much later, he showed up on at midnight in 2016, which proves he could adapt to those newer, faster, more internet-savvy comedy formats too.
And being willing to be the butt of the joke seems central to his whole public thing, like participating in the Comedy Central roasts. He roasted Flavor Flav, he roasted Gene Simmons.
Yeah, if you can stand up there and take that kind of ribbing on national TV, it signals a certain resilience, durability. The audience respects that, I think.
That adaptability, it extends to just embracing goofy physical stuff too, right? Stuff designed to get attention, maybe go viral.
Totally. The sources mention that time on the Jay Leno show back in 2010, he just stood there and let Leno and Emma Roberts throw pies at him.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Just fully commits to the bit. Doesn't matter the format. Physical comedy is physical comedy.
And his engagement with internet humor specifically seems really key to keeping him relevant now. Bridging that gap from being a 90s cable star to fitting into today's, content world, look at his appearances on Tosh.0.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't just show up, he got a full-body massage from Daniel Tosh, which is just deeply weird and memorable, generated tons of buzz.
And he was in that Selena Gomez Good For You tribute
Yeah.
video. Tosh did too. Just pops up unexpectedly.
That's how you do it. You show up on Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis in the Bradley Cooper episode. Just lean into the awkwardness.
And crucially, you engage with the huge podcast audience.
Yeah.
He did the Joe Rogan Experience in 2022, episode 1758.
Wow, Rogan.
Yeah. That one appearance would have put his story, his longevity, in front of tens of millions of people who might never go to Vegas or even watch network TV anymore. Huge platform.
And he's even keeping up with the, family-friendly YouTube sphere, too, which shows he's really covering all bases. Appeared on Good Mystical Morning in late 2023 for their Guess How Much This Weighs challenge.
He's hitting every single major media channel out there. It's impressive.
One last thing on the media front, the music video cameos.
Right. Another way to just cement himself as this recognizable piece of Americana, like appearing with Toby Keith in the Red Solo Cup video.
That video was everywhere.
Exactly. And he even went with Keith to the ACM Awards when he performed it. He's become this reliable, funny visual that directors can just drop into a scene or a video for instant recognition. #tag outro.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. This incredible, nearly 40-year career of Scott Christopher Thompson. It seems like it's not really a story about novelty, maybe. It's more a story about structure, about
Right.
strategy.
I think that's exactly right. You can see this three-pronged approach that basically guarantees relevance and financial security.
Okay, what are the prongs?
Well, first, Obviously, the rock-solid stability of that long-running Vegas residency at the Luxor, that's the anchor, eliminated the risks of touring guaranteed income for decades.
Right. Pillar one, Vegas.
Pillar two, the incredible breadth of his media adaptability. Just think about it, from being the voice of Cartoon Network in the 90s to doing cameos in serious dramas like CSI and Hacks today. He managed to place his very specific brand into literally every market available: kids, adults, comedy fans, drama watchers, internet users.
Okay, Vegas stability, media adaptability, and third.
Third is the sheer rigorous consistency of his core act. That highly efficient, rapid-fire visual prop comedy, always tied to topical American culture and satire. That consistency, that clear definition of what he does, is why he can cross over so easily. Into documentaries like Pauly Shore is Dead, into dramas, into documentaries like the Amazing Jonathan documentary.
Does everyone knows what Carrot Top is?
Exactly. He's a defined, predictable, reliable cultural reference point. And in the entertainment business, that kind of reliability, that's what gets you hired again and again.
So Thompson is basically the ultimate case study in mastering a very specific, repeatable act.
And then leveraging that act relentlessly across every single media platform you can find, ensuring that even if people don't physically go to his show, they're constantly reminded he exists. He's still out there working.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to chew on. It's based on the sheer volume and the topicality of his work. Think about it. Given that continuous, heavy schedule at the Luxor for almost 20 years, and the very specific demands of his prop-heavy show, a show that has to be anchored in topical satire to stay fresh. What are the huge, probably invisible, logistical challenges involved in constantly creating, building, and maintaining that routine?
Yeah, just think about the process. It's not just writing a new joke on a napkin. Every time American culture shifts, every time there's a new iPhone or a political scandal, he potentially needs new props, which means designing them, sourcing materials, maybe fabricating them, managing them physically, dozens of them, all the time.
It's like running a small factory alongside a comedy show.
Pretty much. That kind of immediate, constant production schedule kept up for 2 decades straight just for the Vegas show. It demands a level of supply chain management and design ingenuity that, maybe ironically, kind of rivals the engineering discipline of his own NASA dad's world.
Huh. Never thought of it like that.
That relentless commitment to the creative and the physical logistics. You could almost say that's the real performance art behind Carrot Top's enduring career.